welcome to The Works. Coming up tonight, everything you need to get up to date in the world of sports. Boys are in the house. Tony, Rocky G, John Neo is here as well. We got a lot to talk about. Ryder Cup came to a close. The U.S. woke up. That was really cool to see.
Just in time,
a little too late. Yeah, they missed class. The exam was over. All right, final week of the NFL action, including the Lions picking up their third consecutive win. We'll go back to Ford Field and recap things. Baseball playoffs are now set, but man, it was a jumbled mess of uncertainty until today, which marked the final day of the regular season. Tigers knew they were in. What they didn't know is if they were going into Central Division champions or a wild card entry. So they didn't know if they'd open at Comerica Park or if they'd have to hit the road. Toronto, Cleveland, New York, all possible. First things first, facing the Red Sox, game 162. Boston grabbed an early 1-zip lead, but the Tigers got it going to the fourth. 2 on. Javi Baez, you can take him off. Launched one over the Green Monster and left. 3-run shot. 12th for him. 3-1 Tigers. Boston came right back, though. David Hamilton taking Chris Paddock deep to right and gone. 2-run shot. Tied it at 3. Later in the inning, Boston grabbed the lead. Jaron Duran right here doubles off the Monster. Another run scored. 4-3 Boston. Tigers did have their chances to regain the lead. 7th inning, 2 on, nobody out. Jake Rogers at the plate. It's going to ground into a 5-4-3 double play. Zach McKinstry with a couple on. Grounds out weakly to first base. Now it would be the end of the inning. It was one last chance for the Tigers after this one. They still had time. Parker Meadows at the dish in the ninth. Fly ball isn't going to get it done. Tigers fall to the season finale. That guaranteed that they would finish second in the division. 4-3 the final. Now it's off to Cleveland for the wild card round of the playoffs beginning on Tuesday.
It's a 3-game series, you know, and obviously that's kind of the reality of what it is, and with everything at stake and against a team that you know well. So I think, you know, we'll make sure our guys don't take for granted that we know them well. I think the biggest concern when you play a division opponent is familiarity can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you look at it, from being a little bit too comfortable. So we're going to have to turn over every rock and make sure we're prepared and our guys will be ready.
All right, let's talk about it. There's the schedule that you can see. Game 1 Tuesday, 1:08 for the first pitch. Game 2 Wednesday, 1:08 for the first pitch. Game 3 Thursday should be 1:08, but it depends on how many this series are still going on and if they even have to play a Game 3. We'll have to wait and see. All games will be played in Cleveland. Official introduction, Stoney, 97.1 The Ticket. John Neo from the Detroit News. I don't know. Where do you start with this thing?
Well,
I mean, yes, playoffs or 7-17 in September, the worst record ever for a team that qualified for the postseason. Stoney, you choose.
It's disgusting what happened to them, but I'm not going to sit there and hope that they lose. We saw what happened last year when they got hot, went into Houston and won 2 games. Obviously, they've had trouble with Cleveland, but they're all close games.
Yep.
They can win. But the big picture, Dan, is this was one of the biggest collapses I've ever seen in my life.
15.5 was the biggest for a team to catch up and overcome a deficit. 11 games in September.
Yeah.
It's almost stunning.
It is
to think of where they were 12 days ago.
Yeah. And to think of all the things that they gave up in the process. Yes, they got into the playoffs, but they gave up the bye that seemed really important for obvious reasons for most of August and September. They gave up home field. And today,
did they kind of give it up a little easily
today? It felt like they gave it up a little too easily, didn't they? I mean,
starting
last night, and I get it. They
weren't going to pitch scoop. But there was no Green, no Tort, no Dingler, no Torres.
And the same, Cleveland was approaching it similarly where they were, and both teams celebrated with champagne.
Juan played.
Yeah, no, like the start. I'm talking pitching. You're lining up your pitching for the series, obviously. And they both celebrated with beer and champagne last night, so we can, you know, understand why people were offended by that, but it's what you do when you make the playoffs.
Baseball.
Yeah.
But yeah, today they managed it like they didn't care about this game today, and maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe they really didn't want to go anywhere other than Cleveland.
I guess I would ask, and look, Cleveland won, so I guess maybe in the long run it didn't matter.
Right.
But I mean, is it really that taxing for those guys to play one more game and you got a day off tomorrow?
No, especially since they had a day off on Saturday, most of them, because they were celebrating making the playoffs. And John mentioned, in fact, you know, they gave up so many things. Hey, but they didn't give up any prospects.
And I'll say this, I don't know what what they were dealing with, because Hinch alluded to some guys might be dealing with something physically. I mean, this is easy to sit on the sidelines and pick apart.
And beyond physically, mentally, certainly they were all dealing with something mentally. The Riley Greens, all those guys that were in the skids down the stretch.
Yeah, let's get to that mental thing.
Yeah,
I mean. They've basically fallen apart. And I know Scott Harris, as you were just alluding to, is taking a lot of heat for what he did not do at the trade deadline. And these can be separate conversations, and both can be true. Their players didn't deliver. Their offense has disappeared in September, coinciding with this slide.
Correct. I mean, look, Scott Harris, you're right. Different conversation. He messed up. If he would have gotten a bat, Suarez did have, what, 9-10 home run, but he hit like 180 or whatever. So that's the one everybody wanted. The problem is it's mental. Their best, this isn't Scott Harris' fault, their best players, their guy, they were so happy that they had all those All-Stars, and those All-Stars did nothing the last month, 6 weeks, from Torres to Riley Green, go down the line.
How many times did you see those guys come up with runners in scoring position and nothing would happen?
Yes.
And you take your cue from your stars. They lead the way. Hitting is contagious. Choose your cliche, whatever you want it to be. And they just didn't deliver. So, I mean, again, both things can be right.
Exactly. Absolutely. All the more reason then probably should try to get home field today, shouldn't you? I mean, that's the thing. You're facing Cleveland one way or the other, you think, going into today. But wouldn't you rather be at home at Comerica Park than in Cleveland, where bad things have happened to you against this team in the playoffs? And, that's the part I do question. And look, again, like you said, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with some of those guys, but I don't know. How about a little effort, I guess?
Okay, so do we believe in fresh starts? Do we believe in, as of Tuesday, everybody is 0-0, and what you did in September doesn't necessarily matter, and you do have Tarek Skubal lined up to start?
Right. Hopefully he won't try to be a long snapper in this game and have a little mental breakdown with Balk, whatever, that he's himself, because except for that, he pitched really well. He's been pitching great. He's beaten them before in big situations. He's lost to them before.
Lost to them in a big situation.
I mean, to be honest, that's the thing I feel like I have the most belief in going into this series is obviously Tarek Skubal, but really the starting pitching, because Casey we've seen pitch like a guy he wouldn't mind having, and Flaherty. So I mean, that's to me the strength going into the series is, yes, you do have your pitching lined up and the starting pitching, and then it's just cross your fingers with the bullpen.
If you're Riley Green or one of these other guys that has struggled, I mean, whether it's Torque or it's Torres or it's Carpenter, whoever it is, you have a chance to rewrite much of what has been said during this season. Because if you go out with a whimper, man, it's going to be a rough offseason. There's going to be a lot of questions asked about this team. And I know they're young, but they were in position. And it's very difficult to wrap your arms around a team that had the best record of baseball and the best record in the American League when they gave up the best record in baseball for a minute and then just fell apart at the end. And it's almost impossible to know what to expect over the next 3 days.
Which makes it fun.
Yes, and I'm usually someone on the negative side. I'll give you a little positive thing.
I've met you.
Javi Baez had a hell of a weekend.
I know, he did.
On the field, hit a home run, 2 big hits the other night.
Big diving catch.
Great.
Essentially saved them yesterday. Yeah, saved this.
Because Houston ended up winning. They had the same record as Houston. That 1-0 walk-off win.
And maybe those guys, maybe it's some of those veterans that, yes, definitely tailed off in the second half. Torres, Baez. Maybe some of those guys now, give you a lift here with those young guys struggling.
We hope.
Some of them have 2 days to exhale and then they come back on Tuesday. I mean, we will see what happens. I mean,
or maybe it's Jahmai Jones. Maybe Jahmai Jones just keeps going all the way through.
Might be. I mean, look, it's really a strange position to be in because of what's behind them and yet what's in front of them.
It's hard to feel confident in them, and to be honest, as we pointed out in innumerable ways, it's hard for them to be confident too.
But it's also really hard to dismiss them.
Yeah,
because anything can happen. And to be honest, as good as they played,
and this is the first.
The heck out of you.
And now this is the first time officially they're the underdog, and that's what they thrived on last year.
They've earned that.
Right.
They've earned that.